Jim McCarty of the Yardbirds says we were always a very good team, but Eric was not part of that team. Eric Clapton. Eric was the first big guitarist in the band, then Jeff Beck, then Jimmy Page, who left and formed the new Yardbirds, which evolved into Led Zeppelin. This is rock history music.
Did Eric really leave because of I mean, everyone says the same story. For Your Love, too poppy, want to stick with blues.
That was part of it, really. I think he just thought we were listening too much to, probably to Paul Samuel Smith. He sort of didn't really see eye to eye with him. But we were, I don't know, we were like always a very good team. But he wasn't part of it. He wasn't part of that team. He never quite, for some reason, he didn't. He had his own ideas. He didn't want to be with our ideas. He was very much his own guy.
Someone had commented after we talked last time that they put it down. They said, well, Eric once said that he was the loneliest he's ever been when he was in that band. And he said for whatever reason it just didn't gel personally. And sometimes it just apples and oranges.
Yeah. Yes, I know. I mean, we did have some fun on and off. When he was much more open, but then he sort of started to get his own agenda going, I guess.
So every lineup had its different personalities, though. It's interesting. You bring someone in, the trajectory changes, or sound, the feel. Everyone comes in with they feel different. Clapton with Eric, I mean, to you, he was just a mate. I mean, everyone goes, "Oh, Eric Clapton." I understand that, of course, but what was your first impression of him?
I didn't particularly like him, to be honest. I thought this guy's a bit over cocky. He's a bit too full of himself. I thought he can sort of play. I mean, he could play quite well, but he hadn't sort of mastered his instrument really. But I just thought, oh, he's got a funny sort of attitude. But that sort of went, and we got matey, and we had a big sense of humour in between us. So we had a lot of funny jokes and in-jokes, and you know how it is when you're kids.
When's the last time you talked to him?
Oh, years ago. Years ago.
Well, people go in different directions. They just
Well, he's particularly like that. He would shift dimensions and leave all his mates behind.
Yeah. Well, was Clapton the guy you had described before as the dresser? Was he the guy who was the dresser?
Yes, he would be very keen on what he wore and his image. And the rest of us just wanted to play the music. I mean, he did as well, but he had an extra thing about him.
When you were going through, there were so many changes in the Yardbirds. Did you use those tools then, or were you too young, or to get through transitions?
I don't think we had time really. We couldn't sit around. We didn't have the space, to do that. So we just had to get on with it. And we were always working. So it was a question of the next gig. How are we going to appear there? And how are we going to have a band ready to play? Play at the Fillmore or somewhere. No, we didn't. We didn't sit back. We didn't have time to sit back.
Yeah. Speaking of drumming and fills, and do you still practice? Do you have to? Because a lot of musicians tell me they have to.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I don't practice. I don't really like to practice on my own, but I love to play along with the band, and I do have a little local band here, and we play sort of blues covers and things, just to like a nothing too serious. But the bass player is actually JJ and the Stranglers. You know, the Stranglers.
Mm-hmm.
He plays in it for the fun, and we have quite good fun doing these old blues songs. You know.
We'll have another part of our second interview with original Yardbirds drummer. He's still with the Yardbirds. Jim McCarty, of course, there was Eric Clapton that went through that band. Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page. What the? There'll also be links to everything that is Jim McCarty, how you can listen to his brand new single, the book She Walks in Beauty, which is about his dearly departed wife Lizzie, and a lot more. If you want to make a donation to the channel, there are links at the very top for PayPal. You can join our Patreon, get early access. There are exclusive content from this interview, which only Patreon members can see. It will never see the light of day on YouTube, only on Patreon. Or you can join our regular Patreon, get early access to all our videos. Subscribe to our channel. It's important. Like our videos, share them, and comment on them as well. I'm John Beaudin. This is Rock History Music. Take care.